There's a kind of heartbreak that doesn't come with a loud goodbye or a slammed door. It doesn't come with a breakup text or a dramatic fight. Instead, it creeps in quietly, through silence, distance, and the slow fading of connection. You still see him every day. He's right there, sleeping next to you, eating dinner with you, sharing space. But something feels off. Something's missing. And though he hasn't left physically, emotionally, he's already gone. You start to feel it in the little things. The way he doesn't look at you the same. The way conversations feel shallow, like he's just going through the motions. The warmth that used to be in his words, his touch, his presence. It's no longer there. And yet when you bring it up, he says, everything's fine. So you begin to doubt yourself. You wonder if you're overthinking, if you're just being too sensitive. But your heart knows. Your gut knows. Love is energy, and when it fades, you can feel it. Being with someone who's emotionally checked out is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. Because you're not just grieving the loss of connection, you're grieving it in silence, while still pretending everything's okay. You smile through dinners, lay beside him at night, respond to his, "I love you," even when it feels hollow. And deep down, you keep hoping it's just a phase, that the man you fell in love with will come back, that the emotional intimacy will return. But emotional absence doesn't always look like neglect. Sometimes it's hidden behind routine, behind the good mornings, the shared space, and the everyday responsibilities. And that's what makes it so painful. It's not that he's gone. It's that he's right there, but he's no longer with you. His body stays, but his heart doesn't. And slowly, it begins to affect you too. You feel unheard, unseen, unloved. You stop opening up, stop initiating, stop expecting, because you're tired of being met with nothing. Recognizing these signs isn't about blaming or hating him. It's about facing the truth. Because the moment we see the truth clearly, we can decide what we need, what we deserve, and whether we're willing to keep holding on to someone who's already let go emotionally. This isn't just a list of behaviors, it's a mirror, a reflection of what so many people go through in silence, afraid to admit that love can fade, even while someone still stays. If you've been feeling distant from your partner, but can't quite put your finger on what's wrong, these 12 signs might help you see what your heart's been trying to tell you. Because you deserve love that's not just present in body, but in soul, attention, and truth. 1. He stops sharing his thoughts with you. When he stops sharing his thoughts with you, it's not just about silence, it's about distance. Emotional connection in a relationship is built through everyday conversations. The little things, the random thoughts, the dreams, the worries. When he used to open up to you, it made you feel like a part of his world. But now, it's like there's a wall between you, and you're no longer invited in. You notice the difference. He's quieter, more reserved, and even when he talks, it feels surface level. You ask how his day was, and all you get is a short, fine, or nothing much. The deep talks, the late-night confessions, the random excitement over something he read or thought about, it's all gone. It hurts because it makes you feel like a stranger in what used to be your safe space. It makes you question if he still trusts you the same way, or worse, if he even wants you to understand him anymore. This kind of silence doesn't just happen overnight. It builds slowly, until one day you realize he shares more with his phone, his friends, or even no one at all, than he does with you. And while he may still be physically present, his absence in emotional connection speaks volumes. That silence becomes louder than words. It's not about fighting or shouting. It's about what's missing: intimacy, vulnerability, and the simple act of letting someone in. 2. He avoids eye contact during conversations. When he avoids eye contact during conversations, it's often a sign that something within the relationship has shifted. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of connection. It shows interest, honesty, and emotional presence. But when he stops looking you in the eyes, it can feel like he's not really with you, even if he's sitting right in front of you. The conversations start to feel one-sided, like you're speaking at him instead of with him. You notice his eyes drift away, to his phone, the wall, the floor, anywhere but you. This kind of behavior can be subtle at first. Maybe he looks away when things get serious, or he seems uncomfortable holding your gaze during important moments. Over time, it begins to feel like he's hiding, not just physically, but emotionally too. It may be avoidance, guilt, disinterest, or even detachment. Whatever the reason, the lack of eye contact sends a clear message. He's emotionally checked out. You might try to brush it off, thinking maybe he's tired or distracted, but deep down you feel it. That quiet disconnection that wasn't there before. It creates a sense of emotional distance, a gap between you that words alone can't fix. Because when someone truly cares, they want to see you, not just physically, but emotionally, soulfully. When he stops looking into your eyes, it's not just his gaze that's turned away, it's his heart. 3. His "I love you" feels robotic or forced. When his "I love you" starts to feel robotic or forced, it hits differently. Those 3 words are supposed to carry warmth, depth, and truth. But when they're said without emotion, they lose their meaning. You notice it in the tone of his voice, the lack of eye contact, the way he says it like it's a routine rather than a feeling. It's like he's checking a box, saying what he thinks he's supposed to say, rather than expressing what he truly feels. The spark that once lit up those words is now gone. In the beginning, his "I love you" felt real. It made your heart race, brought a smile to your face, and wrapped you in security. But now, when he says it, it feels empty. There's no pause, no softness, no connection in the moment. Sometimes it even comes at strange times, as if he's saying it to avoid a conversation, end an argument, or just because you said it first. You can sense the difference. Love, when genuine, is felt more than it's heard. And when it becomes mechanical, it leaves behind an ache, a feeling that something important is fading. You start to wonder, does he still feel the same way, or is he just holding on out of habit? Because when "I love you" becomes just a phrase, without emotion or sincerity, it's not love being spoken. It's a memory of what love used to be. 4. He no longer asks how your day was. When he no longer asks how your day was, it may seem like a small thing, but deep down, it speaks volumes. That simple question used to mean he cared, that he wanted to be part of your daily life, even in the little things. It was his way of checking in, making sure you were okay, celebrating your wins, or comforting you through rough moments. But now, the silence feels louder than any words. You come home, or maybe text him after work, and there's no curiosity, no interest. He doesn't ask what you did, how you felt, or what's been on your mind. Conversations become mechanical, focused on routines or responsibilities, not connection. You start to feel invisible, like your life is happening, but he's no longer a part of it. It's not just about the question itself, it's about the absence of effort. When someone loves you, they want to know you, every version of you, even the boring or stressful parts. But when he stops asking, it feels like he's stepping back emotionally, like he no longer wants to be included in your world. You might try to bring it up yourself, share things voluntarily, hoping he'll engage, but the lack of interest stings. Over time, it creates distance, and that one simple, forgotten question becomes a daily reminder that something important is missing: attention, presence, and care. 5. Physical closeness feels distant. When physical closeness starts to feel distant, it's one of the most confusing and painful signs of emotional detachment. He might still sit beside you, sleep next to you, or hold your hand, but it doesn't feel the same. The warmth is missing. The comfort is gone. It feels more like habit than affection, more like routine than love. His touch no longer carries emotion, and his presence feels more like a body in the room than a heart that's with you. You begin to notice the little things. The way he used to pull you closer without saying a word. The way a hug used to feel like home. Now, even when you're in his arms, it's like his mind is somewhere else. There's no spark, no intention, no feeling behind the physical contact. Kisses feel brief, disconnected. Cuddles are replaced by distance or turned backs. And even when he's right there, you feel alone. What hurts most is that physical closeness was once your love language, your safe space. Now, it feels like a reminder of what's been lost. Not just passion, but emotional presence. You might question yourself, wondering if you're imagining it, but your heart knows the difference. When someone's touch used to speak love and now says nothing, that silence is hard to ignore. 6. He's always distracted around you. When he's always distracted around you, it starts to feel like you're no longer a priority in his world. You could be talking, sharing something important, or just spending time together. But his mind seems elsewhere. He's glued to his phone, flipping through channels, scrolling through social media, or mentally checked out. The focus, the attention, the presence he once gave you is missing. You feel like you're competing with everything else for a tiny piece of his attention and losing. What used to be meaningful moments now feel interrupted or ignored. He used to listen, really listen, with eyes and heart. But now, you catch him nodding without hearing a word, answering with half-hearted responses, or zoning out completely. You start hesitating to speak, wondering if it even matters anymore. And it's not just during conversations. Even in silence, the disconnect is clear. There's no curiosity, no effort to engage, no small gestures that show he's truly with you. He might be physically in the same room, but emotionally, he's miles away. That absence weighs heavy. It makes you feel unseen, unimportant, and slowly invisible in a relationship you once felt safe in. Distraction isn't always about being busy. Sometimes it's a quiet sign that someone has emotionally drifted. And when someone stops showing up for you mentally and emotionally, it hurts more than words ever could. 7. Conversations turn cold or dry. When conversations turn cold or dry, it's like the heartbeat of the relationship starts to fade. The flow that once felt natural now feels forced. What used to be hours of deep talks, laughter, and playful banter has been replaced by short, dull replies and awkward silence. You find yourself doing most of the talking, asking questions just to keep the conversation alive. And even then, his answers are minimal, emotionless, or delayed. There's a shift you can't ignore. You used to talk about everything: dreams, fears, random thoughts, even silly little things. Now it feels like you're speaking to someone who doesn't really want to be there. He responds with one-word answers or simply shrugs, and the warmth in his tone is gone. You can feel the distance in every sentence. There's no spark, no curiosity, no excitement to connect. It's not just the words, it's the energy. Even when you try to bring up something meaningful, it feels like he's not interested, like he's emotionally checked out before the conversation even begins. Over time, this coldness builds a wall. You start pulling back too, tired of trying, afraid of being met with silence or indifference. When communication breaks down like this, it's more than just a bad day. It's a sign that something deeper is missing. Because when two people care, their words carry warmth. When that warmth disappears, so does the connection that once made love feel alive. 8. He shows more interest in his phone than in you. When he shows more interest in his phone than in you, it's a quiet kind of heartbreak. You're right there beside him, hoping to connect, to share a moment, or simply feel close. But his attention is elsewhere. He's constantly scrolling, texting, watching videos, or lost in apps, while you sit silently, waiting to be seen. It's not just about screen time. It's about emotional absence. You feel like you're competing with a device and losing every single time. You might start conversations that he barely hears, or notice how quickly he responds to notifications while taking forever to reply when you speak. The moments you used to spend talking, laughing, or just being present together are now replaced by the cold glow of a screen. Even during meals, dates, or quiet evenings, his focus is locked on something or someone that isn't you. It leaves you feeling unimportant, like your presence doesn't hold the same value it once did. You start to wonder if you're boring him or if he's avoiding connection on purpose. That constant distraction becomes a symbol of the emotional gap growing between you. Being ignored doesn't always come with loud arguments or hurtful words. Sometimes it's just in the way someone chooses a screen over your eyes, your voice, your heart. And when his phone becomes more important than your presence, it's not just rude. It's a sign he's no longer fully there with you. 9. He doesn't fight anymore. He just shuts down. When he doesn't fight anymore and just shuts down, it might seem like peace on the surface, but deep inside it feels like indifference. In a healthy relationship, disagreements are normal. They mean both people still care enough to express, to fix, to fight for each other. But when he stops reacting, stops defending, or stops explaining, it's not calmness, it's emotional withdrawal. You bring up something that's bothering you, and instead of talking it through, he goes silent. He shrugs, changes the subject, or simply walks away. There's no passion, no concern, no effort to understand your feelings or resolve what's wrong. It's like he's emotionally checked out, no longer invested in the outcome. You could be pouring your heart out, and he barely responds, like none of it matters anymore. That silence doesn't bring comfort. It brings loneliness. Because when someone stops fighting, it often means they've stopped caring, not about you necessarily, but about the relationship, the connection, the future. And that kind of emotional shutdown leaves you talking to a wall, feeling like your voice, your pain, and even your love are invisible. It's not about wanting arguments. It's about wanting to be heard. When even conflict disappears, so does the hope that anything will change. And in that silence, you realize love doesn't die with shouting. It dies when there's nothing left to say. 10. He forgets important dates or moments. When he starts forgetting important dates or moments, it feels like he's slowly letting go of the emotional thread that once tied you together. It's not just about missing a birthday, an anniversary, or the day you first met. It's about the meaning behind those memories. These moments are more than just dates on a calendar. They're emotional markers in your relationship, reminders of what you've built together. When he forgets them, it makes you feel like those shared experiences no longer hold value for him. At first, you might make excuses. Maybe he's stressed, busy, or simply distracted. But when it becomes a pattern, it starts to sting. He used to make those days feel special, even in small ways. A sweet message, a thoughtful gesture, or just remembering without being reminded. Now, it passes like any other day, and you're left feeling forgotten, as if the relationship is fading in his heart. It's not just the big milestones either. He forgets the little things too, the things that matter only to the two of you. A favorite memory, a promise he made, something you told him that mattered. And each time, it chips away at your sense of connection. You begin to feel like you're holding on to moments alone, while he's already moved on emotionally. Forgetting can happen, but when it keeps happening, it stops being an accident and starts feeling like emotional absence. Because when someone truly cares, they remember what matters to you, because you matter to them. 11. You feel lonely even when he's right next to you. When you feel lonely even while he's right next to you, it's one of the most heartbreaking kinds of loneliness. He may be sitting beside you, lying next to you, sharing the same space. But emotionally, he's not there. The silence between you isn't peaceful. It's heavy. Conversations feel empty. His presence feels distant. And his energy feels disconnected. You look at him and realize you miss someone who hasn't even left. And that feeling can be more painful than actual absence. It's not about physical distance. It's about the emotional gap that's grown between you. The comfort that used to come from being near him has faded. You start to second-guess yourself, wondering why something feels so off when everything seems normal on the outside. You crave connection, but it never really comes. You reach out through words, touch, gestures, but there's no real response. It's like loving someone through a glass wall, where you can see them, but you can't truly reach them. This kind of loneliness makes you question everything. You ask yourself if you're overthinking, if you're expecting too much, if it's your fault somehow. But deep down, you know the truth. Being physically close doesn't mean being emotionally connected. And when the person who once made you feel the most loved now makes you feel invisible, it breaks something inside. Because love isn't just about being present. It's about showing up, heart and soul. 12. He treats you like a roommate, not a partner. When he starts treating you like a roommate instead of a partner, the emotional shift becomes impossible to ignore. The relationship loses its warmth, its spark, its intimacy, and what's left feels more like shared space than shared love. You go through the motions together, eating meals, handling chores, maybe watching TV in the same room. But the connection that once made you feel special, wanted, and deeply loved starts to fade into routine. There's no affection in his gestures, no excitement in his voice when he sees you, no intentional effort to nurture the relationship. Conversations become transactional, about bills, groceries, schedules, not dreams, feelings, or the future. You feel more like two people coexisting under the same roof than two souls building a life together. The emotional bond that once felt so alive now feels like it's on autopilot. He doesn't check in with you emotionally, doesn't plan things with you, doesn't make you feel like you're in this together. You're still there, still committed, still trying. But it's like he's forgotten what it means to truly be a partner. And the worst part? You remember what it used to be like. You remember the laughter, the late-night talks, the way he made you feel seen and chosen.